Hey guys, it's Amber and welcome to day 15. I've got a lot of stuff saved here. So I'm going to be doing my 15 favorite Christmas movies, and I have definitely touched on this before, but I wanted to have some fun with it here. So I've got some stuff set aside. Let me get it all organized here. So ever since I saw the product releases and I saw all these Christmas themed strips, or sorry, Christmas movie quote strips, I've been wanting to play with those. So I'm taking some inspiration from Jenny Ray's product play lesson, where she took this awesome grid paper that came in the kit. It's funny, I'm using all digital versions this year. She took this paper and made it a 6x8 and she put it on a slant. So, and then part of her lesson showed like cutting it and having it lift up. So what I'm going to do is the same. So like I said, I'm not going to show a ton of that process because it's her video, but I printed 2 copies of the same thing here. Created my own extra blocks here because this one, as you can see, is only 5 across, so I had to like duplicate it and add some extra layers and things. So I'm combining several things here. So I've got my 2 copies of the printer paper. I've got my 15 little snippets here that I believe are 2 1/4 by 2. Yes, so I'm going to have to cut all those out. That's what the space fits. And I needed to do the flip up so I can fit them all. And then the second part of that is part of the prep party was these 1 through 10 stockings. And I loved them, but I also created several with the extra pattern papers that were the add-ons that weren't included in here. So I created a few that are my own. And I only went to 10 and I created 15. So I think I changed the pattern on these 2 and changed the colors of the numbers. This one, I think I definitely made the number 12 with the plaid. And then I have 3 over here that I made completely fresh and new by using these same patterns. I'm getting much better at selecting and masking and overlaying than I've ever been before. So then some stuff that I picked out. I've got my number 15 from my Felicity Jane set here. I have 3 hearts, 2 that say Christmas love, so I'll just kind of decide which one I prefer. And then I have a love this, which is black. And then I've got little houses because Home Alone 1 and 2 are on the list. I have these puffy stickers from Paisley Press's kit this year, and I kind of liked this Let's Stay In. But the Oh What Fun is also really cute. And then I have I forget what this is called, the Christmas Funny puffy stickers or something. But it has the Merry Christmas, You Filthy Animal, the Stink Stink Stunk. And then we're going to have the Happiest Christmas. So those 3 are from movies as well. So I want to try to do something with them. And then the quotes that I have here are the maybe Christmas perhaps means a little bit more, eating junk and watching rubbish, and to all a good night, which is more of a basic like Santa saying, but I've got quite a few here. And the best way to spread Christmas cheer. I kind of was debating, because this is an elf quote, do I, save this for music? Because the quote is the best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loud for all to hear, or do I use it with all of these as a movie? So I'm not 100% sure yet, but I have them set aside. Something that I could create a little bit of journaling on. In Jenny's, she had part of her lesson was on these, and she had them like going across like this. So I'm going to have a lot going on because I'm going to have 15 photos, 15 stockings, not even a ton of space for journaling because I've got, if I cut this here, I have 8 and like a couple of half squares, and then 12 here. So that's at least 20 full blocks. And 15 of them are going to be taken up with stuff plus a number. So that's 16 blocks. So I only really have 4 places to decorate. So I'm considering making a couple flip-ups. I also have this set aside from the advent calendar for lifting it. We'll see. I'm gonna have, if I do it, it would have to be on the side. It can't be on the bottom because then it would be upside down. So I have that in my stash, and then I also have these two cards in my stash that are both Kelly Perky cards that I would consider either cutting out and making them, you know, like quotes on here, or making them part of flip-ups. So one is, I'm sorry I ruined your lives and stuffed 11 cookies in the VCR, which is an elf quote. And it's in, I think, black and white on the side, and then this teal color. And then this is, I feel it in my fingers, I feel it in my toes, which if you're a Love Actually fan, you'll recognize immediately. So I'm gonna get started. Right now I have a lot of cutting to do. Also, my holes are gonna be going on this side here. I intentionally left myself room to punch so that this can lift up out of the way. I'll probably be using just regular printer paper to make a hinge here. And then I'm honestly not sure what's gonna go on the inside yet. If I'm gonna put journaling or what exactly I'm gonna do. I don't know. Maybe just some pattern paper and journaling. But these are in no particular order. I have Elf, Fred Claus, The Holiday, The Grinch with Jim Carrey, The Family Stone, While You Were Sleeping, A Christmas Story, Jack Frost, Love Actually, Christmas Vacation, Home Alone, A Charlie Brown Christmas, The Santa Claus, which to me equals all three of them. Here's Home Alone 2, and then Miracle on 34th Street, the 90s version. So I'm gonna get started. I'm really excited to see how this comes out. I'm hoping that it will look clean and pretty without being chaotic. That is the goal. So yeah, I'm gonna get started. I also have to hand cut out all of these stockings as well, and we'll see where we end up. Okay, so I'm just going to show you a couple seconds here of me cutting these out. This was the first thing that I started with. When I was organizing this in Photoshop, I don't really use templates that often, but I'm pretty, I try to use the guides that Photoshop will give you once you start aligning things together to try to keep them as straight as possible so that it's easier to trim. So now I'm going to jump into trimming off the edges of this piece. I was trying to use my cutters as much as possible so that they would be as straight as possible and not hand cut. But I started to trim the hole, not trim the holes, but put the holes in, and then I realized this was still the full 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper and not the 8 1/4 that it would need to be. So I'm trimming just a little bit off of both sides to keep it as even as I can with the design. And then I attempted to try to do some trimming, but I ended up with the trimmer there, but I instead paper clipped them together and used my scissors. It kept slipping out of my hands and I was afraid of making a bad cut. I didn't want to have to reprint them if I didn't have to, so that was a simply easier way to handle it. So there I'm getting the holes punched so I can make sure that everything's going to be clearing. And I'm going to take some scratch paper that I have there that's just simple computer paper, and I'm going to make a 2 by I think 11-inch hinge there. So I'm going to put adhesive on the inside bottom, and then I'm going to close it and put adhesive on the top once it's folded. And that way I can hide the paper behind the photo. Well, really behind both photo papers. So there you can see I'm attaching the top, and I unfortunately went down wrong, so I had to read here after one attempt. So I decided to fold it over instead. So there you can see. Now I'm ripping off the adhesive, and I'm going to lay the top piece down on top. That way it's as smooth as possible. I'm going to trim that little edge there where I've cut it out. And now it is right side up. So just at the very beginning stages of considering my layout here, where I'm going to put my number, I'm going to get all my photos out. There's a lot of blue in movie photos, so I was like trying to decide if I wanted to scatter it around or put all the blues on the back. But so I originally started out with 6 on the first one, and then I realized that would leave me with 9 for the second one, so I had to squeeze in 7 and 8. So I'm going to end up moving one up to the top there,
and rearranging a bit. And I'm going to go ahead and apologize in advance because you're seeing what it's looking like now as I start working on this and kind of what my vibes were. And I very quickly realized that I was going to run out of room by layering the stockings to the side and trying to squeeze all these photos in. So most of the footage of me actually working on this, I thought I had taken some, but I was working on it for so long that I must have stopped filming and never turned it back on. So I apologize because I don't have any. But you're getting kind of the idea of what it looks like when it's over, because I'll show you a live look at the end. And I wish I could have shown you all my embellishment choices, but I was just going back and forth on where to put things, and where to put pattern paper in the different squares. And you will see here though that I'm going to start considering some vellum once I realize I just don't have enough room. I haven't even moved one of these over to the front yet. So it takes a lot of rearranging to find balance and to try to put everything where I'd like it to be. So you can see here, I'm just kind of thinking about, and I have the two Home Alones layered together. I was thinking about keeping everything flat and then making those two a flip up, or deciding, to put them individually on there. And I cut those puffy sticker elements off of their backing sheet. Like I cut it out with the backing sheet on it, I should say, so that I could rearrange and see how things were going. And I really wanted to layer more of those strips within the photos, but I just did not have the room. So you'll see kind of that they end up above and below the layouts. And here's where I start playing around with the vellum. So I just trim these into 2 1/4 inch wide pieces, and I don't even, I don't make them a full 4 by inch because they're just adhered to the back and folded over. I think a lot of them end up being 2.5 or 3 inches, just enough to cover the front. So I'm gonna make a little batch of these. And then I'm going to use my scoreboard to give me a nice crisp line. And I just took my time because vellum can rip. So you're seeing it at high speed, but I did it fairly slowly so that it, I didn't rip my stash. So I'm just doing one little score line, folding them on that crease. And I'm going to go through and, of course, make more that you'll see off camera. And then I'm just going to kind of see what they look like over top of a photo with the stocking on top. So I'll leave you with that live look of the final product in just a moment.
Okay guys, so I skipped a lot of footage because I had a lot of work to do on this. I wasn't sure, honestly, I kind of slept on it overnight and finished up a few teeny little details today. I wasn't sure if I loved it or if I felt like I was forcing something. But it's definitely growing on me and I'm starting to love it more and more. So one of the very last touches I added was these little gold stars, and I felt like they added a little sparkle to it. So to start with, if I had to do this again, I would make my photos smaller so that the little stockings could fit in the box with them and I didn't have to do vellum. That being said, I think it adds a fun little touch. And I know that when they're in the album, they will flatten more and hopefully not get ruined. The only one I'm concerned about was this one because I had to cut it and it's on less than half an inch. So I'm trying to figure out if I should enforce it with washi or what I'm going to do there exactly. Because if it rips, it's going to be hard to redo. So anywho, I printed, I can't quit this holly paper. I just can't. It matches everything. It looks great with everything. I've used it 5 times in the album now. I can't quit it. Plus I know that it's going to be across from a page with a holly. So that was partly why I wanted to use it. I popped up my 15 on foam squares because I wanted to tie this little bit of twine around it. And I needed room for that to be on there without it being wobbly. So I thought that was a good solution. And then I used this Watching Holiday Movies from the Paisley Press word phrase stickers. And I just layered that across the middle there. I used the actual pattern paper here. I should have printed it digitally, but whatever. I just cut into it because I wanted to see how it looked. And I didn't do it in the blocks. I just did a whole strip. Put some down here and some here for a trio. And then I tried to do the holly in a trio to make a visual triangle, basically. And then I also tried to do the reds in a triangle and the greens in a triangle. So it might look chaotic, but I'm trying kind of hard actually to look for balance. And once I get things arranged in a certain way where the colors make sense in your brain, like that's when I always know that like, okay, yes, this is it. And I stop moving things around. So I added on the little tab here, 2 of the puffy stickers like we had talked about. I had to trim this one so it fit. And then I added this. So this is actually, you can see it from here, but it's layered on the second page. So let's go ahead and flip that up. I kept this one more simple with a few more plain white backgrounds. And instead of trying to force pattern paper everywhere and make it almost like a duplicate, I basically printed out a 4x6 of this pattern and then just used it to cut it up in certain places. So here I have the puffy heart that has the Home Alone quote and the love actually quote. And then I cut up the one that said "into all a good night." I didn't want to have it be the only one that I wasn't using. I could have saved it for like Christmas Eve, but honestly with us being on a cruise and stuff, I'll probably forget to use it. And this way I used all the ones from this stripboard set together. I had originally planned to use this and write like 15 favorite movies or something on it. It just never worked out. So I added some of the chipboard houses here, kind of like for Home Alone, and a lot of movies take place in fun houses. So I'm really happy with how it came out. And again, I tried to keep in mind that, you know, these stars will show up, and added a few here just for some whimsy. These are from the Heart Transparency set. I printed out the Totally Merry and Bright because I wanted to change this Christmas movie, or the Christmas loves. I highlighted the loves and drug it down and typed in movie. So at least I do have that as kind of like a title. Oh, and I forgot I have a patch here from last year's Paisley and Press kit called Merry and Bright. So like I said, overall, I'm pretty happy with how it came out. It was definitely a lot of work, but overall, very pleased. So hope you are inspired to keep cutting up and playing with that pattern paper in your products, and don't be afraid to use them. Remember, we bought them for a reason, and I'm trying to remind myself of that whenever I haven't used any of these pleather hearts yet. They're either going to go on my 5 family tags, or they're going to all be in the second half of my album because I haven't been able to part with any yet. But anyway, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching the footage for this one, and I will see you soon for day 16. Thanks again.